Hello everyone and welcome to another how-to video. My name's Oliver Draper, CTO for COP. And the product we're looking at to commission today is Hikvision's brand new 502 Access Terminal. This device has been out, or not this exact one, but a version of this device has been out now for a while, about a year or so. This new one they've launched now, just the same as the previous one in some regards. So it's a card reader, PIN number access, all in one terminal as well. So it's got onboard device relay. It's got the camera in there as well for your video intercom functionality. This particular version, though, however, at the bottom, has got a QR code reader in there. Now, this is particularly useful in regards to people who you want to give temporary access to, like visitors or anything like that, and you can just send them out a QR code. You don't have to worry about dispatching them out a card or anything like that. Send them a QR code. They can hold their QR code up there, and that will let them in. So what we'll do, we'll see how we set this up with Hik-Partner Pro, which is the installer app, and then how we assign this over to a business using HikConnect Teams. Okay, so I've got the device on the desk in front of me just here. For the purpose of today, I've just got a normal 12-volt power supply to power the device, and I've got an Ethernet cable going to my local network just to get it on the network, essentially. On the back of this device, it does have the wires that can go straight to your mag lock or strike lock or whatever locking mechanism you're using. I'll put a quick diagram on the screen for you now. That is just a very brief diagram of how you run it from a power supply all the way to your mag lock, also using a push to exit button. The one the diagram you're seeing there is a no-touch exit button, therefore it requires a power source to it as well. Now, it is worth noting as well, in the diagram you saw there, and obviously the device here, it is onboard device relay, meaning if it is going to a mag lock and someone wants to break this off the wall, of course that will drop power to the lock and therefore someone can break into it. Instead of using onboard device relay, we can use something such as a secure module, as you can see on screen there. With a secure module, we simply wire that back to our access terminal using what's called the RS-485 wiring. Therefore, what happens is when a credential is recognized on the terminal, it sends a command down the RS-485 and the mag lock is wired to the secure module, and the secure module opens the door. That is what you do in a situation where you're concerned where this could get vandalized or someone could potentially break in. So if it was going in the public domain, you'd usually put a secure module on there with battery backup supply as well. If it's going with inside a building or an office in a closed area, you're not too concerned that someone will vandalize it, then you could use the onboard device relay should you wish. So, got the device here. As mentioned, it is powered up and it is on the local network. So just pop that down on the desk in front of me. Now, to set this up, an installer would usually use something that's called the Hik-Partner Pro app. That is what's usually downloaded to the installer's mobile phone. I did do a previous video of how to use Partner Pro. It's in the top corner there. Go to the corner, go to that link. There's a link there showing you how to use it in a bit more depth. But that's the application we're going to use for today. So if I just open up Hik-Partner Pro on my mobile device now, and it's on the screen to the side, you can see. Now, because my phone is on the same Wi-Fi network as what the device is connected to via the Ethernet cable, as you can see at the bottom, it straight away found the device, and it said there's a new device found, and it said there that you can see the full device code, DS-K1T502DBWX-CQR. And it's unactivated. So in other words, it's brand new, fresh out of the box. So what we're going to do is activate it by hitting the activate button. It's asking you to create a password for this device. So if I just give it a password of my choice, I'm just going to pop one in that I'm going to use. And I'm also going to use that as the verification code as well. Okay. Now that's done, I just hit the next button. And as we can see now, it's straight away activating the device. So in other words, it's giving it a password. It's done that. It's even configuring the network for me as well. So it's actually going to be assigning, get an IP address and setting all the network stuff up. It'll do a quick check of the firmware, make sure it's up to date. And now it's also syncing the device time with my phone's time. So whatever my phone is, as we see there, I just need to hit try again, just to make sure that actually pushes it out. Okay, so it says that it's failed, that it's device time with the phone time. So what we'll do, we'll go into the settings afterwards and make sure the date and time is correct, because that can cause us problems when we're assigning access control results. So we'll just complete the installation. And now it's asking us to basically add this to an account or create a site at the top there. Now it has found other devices on the network which is saying I can add to it. I don't want to, I just want the top one that we've got there. And it's asking me to assign it to a new site. But at the top there it's saying personal. Now personal would be if it's a domestic user, so it's their own personal equipment over their home. But because of this device, we're going to assign it to a business in this sort of situation. We're going to go team at the top. So we'll say we're going to assign this to a team in Teams mode. The site name at the top is just saying new site underscore and then the date backwards. So we're just going to call this site basically usually what the business name is going to be or whatever you want to in your situation. So I'm just going to call this one Cop Demo and then click OK. Now it's showing the device is now being added. So we'll just give that a moment or two just to correct its adding. And now it's popped up saying what services do we want to activate. Now we're using what's called HikConnect Teams, which as I mentioned is for business use. Now, so this is a cloud-based BMS, a video management software. So there's a web browser to it, where the customer can dial in, and they can also use their HikConnect app as well as an alternative. So it's asking us what they want to do. So we've got the video management, access control, intrusion for your alarm panels, video intercom, analysis report, onboard monitoring, that sort of stuff. Now, because it's obviously recognized this as an access control device, it's saying do you want to use the access control and time and attendance. Now, it is worth noting that this is free for the first 8 channels for CCTV devices and free for the first 4 doors for access control. So we're just going to select that one and go to activate. It says there that device has been added successfully, and it's now giving the option to if you want to hand it over to a customer. We'll do that later on. What we're going to do, though, through Partner Pro, we're going to dial into the device through the mobile app, and we'll just take a look at some of the settings. So I'm just going to hit complete in the top right-hand corner. So there we go. We've got it on our screen now at the moment. We can see the device is added there. If I click on the device itself, I can see the details about the device. If I click the cog button, this is now putting me into the settings of the device as if I was on the web browser and going through the web browser on it as well. Okay, so at the top there we've got our system settings, which we've got our basic information, which is showing us all about the device itself, including the firmware version that's running on it. Go back, go to time settings, and there we go. This is what failed to push out earlier on. So we'll just try and synchronize this again, but what I'm going to do is just set the time zone to where we are. So we're obviously on GMT. Time sync mode is set to manual. We go NTP if we want it to. I'm just going to sync it with my mobile time, and that's now synced to the correct mobile time based on the time zone we're in. And then I can click the save button. So that's now saved, and we now save the correct date and time. As we go down, we've got our network settings there, so our TCP, IP settings, which is our normal IP addresses and things of that sort of nature. We've got the Wi-Fi settings. So this device does have Wi-Fi facility, so we could enable the Wi-Fi and add this to one of our Wi-Fi networks should we wish. For today, we're not going to do that, but again, in real world, if you want to do it, that is an option. Personally, I prefer using an actual cable rather than using the Wi-Fi. So we've got device hotspot. So this device does have the facility to broadcast its own wireless network, and theoretically, for the purpose of setting it up, if you haven't got an Ethernet cable in, you can pair your phone to its Wi-Fi and dial in that way. Again, I did a previous video on the slimline version, the 805, of how you do that. Again, link is in the top corner if you are interested in how to do that method. Just go back. We've got our device access. So these are things like our ISUP, our VoIP, our guarding vision if you want to use that. Then we've got person management. We're going to people into the system. Event searching. Audio. Access control parameters. Intercom facilities. Intercom security to the device itself. So lots of settings we can get into straight from here. So, as we can see, we could commission all the things such as our doors and how our doors open and how long they open for by going to the access control settings and all that sort of stuff. But once we've added the device into Hik-Partner Pro and we've created our site location, what I can do is I can now hand this device over to the end user, in this case a business owner, and he can use his HikConnect Teams to essentially set this up, add his people in there, add visitors, and so forth. So all I need to do now with this site at the top here, where it says there, not handed over, I can just click underneath it, hand over site. And it's asking me what I want to hand over. So essentially I'm handing over the access control devices, how many devices have been added, it's one area, one alarm rules, and so on and so on and so on. So this is just showing me everything that I'm going to hand over. So I click over at the top now, hand over site. When I click hand over site, it's asking me for the end user's details. In this case, his email address that he's got registered is HikConnect account for. So I'll pop in the email address that's been registered. I pop in there the customer's name. And then I can choose to pop in a phone number if I want to. And then I click confirm. Request has been handed over. At the top now, I've got the HikConnect notification as the end user. So the end user's now got a notification saying the service provider COP UK has handed over the HikConnect business system to you. So end user now gets their notification and they just simply need to accept this. So it's showing there all the details. So at the top there, it's got COP UK as the installer. That's basically handing the device over. And it's being handed over to COP Demo, who is obviously going to be the end user in this scenario. And as I go down, it's telling the end user everything that is in there. So again, it's one access control device that's been added in there, one group, 4 alarm rules. And if we look down at authorized permission, by default here, it's basically saying that the installer is wanting lifetime access into device remote access, remote service management. As we can see, the end user can choose to amend these things if they want to. So again, they don't have to give them access if they don't want to. But again, in this scenario, we're going to have it so that way the installer can dial in and do any sort of fixes if there's any problems. If the installer does dial in at any point as well, the end user will get a HikConnect notification saying that the installer has just accessed their device. So we'll click I agree and click confirm. And that has now been added in, and we're now in the HikConnect app, or in this case, HikConnect Teams. So in here is where the end user can now commission and set their system up if they want to. So as you can see there, we've got the door control there. We've got the one default rule. So the end user can choose to
the door is
open the door from here, quite fairly straightforward. But we want to set this up now with some users, and we also want to set in some access credentials. So let's take a look how we do that. So along the top here, the end user has got some options such as creating a temporary pass, go into temporary pass, and then they can add one in here. If I just go back one just for the moment, we've got our device management. If I go in device management, it will show us our default group. If I click on the default group itself, it's showing us the device that's actually there, and I go across the door and it's showing us the door and the status of the door itself. If we just go back again, we've got the health status of the device as well. It's given us an abnormality. That's more than likely due to the fact that the RS-45 is probably still enabled and it's looking for a card reader or something of that sort of nature. If we just go to applications at the bottom, these are all the applications that the business owner has through the HikConnect Teams. So we've got device management at the top, our general services, we've got our person management and the health monitoring system. Under access control, we've got our door control, open door by Bluetooth, open door by QR code, the access records, manage access levels, and create temporary passes. So what we'll do first of all, let's just manage access levels. So this is where we create our access level, because if we're going to add someone to the system, we need to be able to add someone in, but also assign them an access schedule and access level. So if we just go add, we give this one a name. So I'll just call this one, just for the situation, main door. I select the doors in question. In this case, we've only got the one. So I select that one door, click OK. And then it's asking me for the access schedule. So by default there, it's got all day template, which is essentially 24/7. If I wanted to, we could create other access levels that might be during working hours, weekends, or whatever it's going to be. Again, don't forget, if I've got multiple access devices, I can set access levels for different doors at different times. If I just click save, I've now created that access level. Go back one. And now from here, this is where I can add a person into the system. So I can go to person management at the top, and I can add a permanent person. At the moment under there, we've got the main user themselves. So we've got there where it says COP Technical, and that is where the main user is currently at the minute. So this is basically the administrator who's been signed over. So they've been straight away been granted into the system essentially. So they have got a user already in there. If we go to access level, access records and things, we can look at the records that they've gone through, which obviously they haven't at this stage. If I click on the option at the top there for editing these details, this is where I can now assign this person an access level. And that's the main door one in there. So if I click that button and click OK, that person is now got access into here. Click Save. And this person now has access through the door. And there are various ways we can do this. So again, I could choose to generate a PIN number for the person. If it was a Facebook terminal, I'd have a face. In this case, it's not. I can actually add a card of this person there. I've actually got the option for Bluetooth as well. So the person can open the door via Bluetooth. Again, that option is there. So NFC or Bluetooth. Now, it is worth noting the NFC mode is only applicable for Android devices. It's not supported by iPhone. So if we just go back now, again, as the administrator of the system, I can click Add and add a new person in there. So we'll just make up a name. We'll say someone like, I know, Bob Smith as an example. Add them in there. What department they belong to, person ID. Do want to give them app use. In other words, their HikConnect app can, they can use their app to log in and do stuff. I can say, no, don't want to give them app access. I just want to give them access through the door. Give them access through that door. Click OK. Click OK. And then there's a permanent person now in there as well. So Bob is now in there. Again, he can gain access. We can assign him cards and all the other bits and pieces like that. Now, if I go back, as we can see under access control, we've got some other various options. One of the options there is open door with QR code. Because don't forget, I am now logged in as the administrator system. So if I click open door with QR code, that has now shown my QR code. Now, if I just hold it over that QR code reader in place,
authenticated,
that's gained access. So again, I can use a QR code to gain access through the system. Nice and straightforward. Now, also from here, under the access control, I've got the option there to grant a temporary pass. So this might be for visitors or contractors or anyone coming to your business temporarily. So if I click on temporary pass, this is where I can now add a temporary pass into the system. So I click add. I give this one a name. So I'll just call this one I'll say this contractor 1. What access level do I want to assign this contractor? So I'll say that door, click OK. That's the door we're giving in. And as we can see there, it says allowed passes. Now by default, it is set to 3. This can be from anything from 1 up to 200 times. So we can set a limit essentially of how many times they can use that QR code to gain entrance. So we'll keep it on 3 and we'll just see how this works. We've got there underneath there the start time and we've also got the end time as well. So we can specify how long they've got access for. Now as we can see by default, it's giving them 24 hours, i.e. from midnight of last night to midnight of tonight. So we can actually choose this access level and reduce it right down if we wanted to, because it might be, yep, you're going to grant them 200 uses to get access with a QR code, but because your premises shuts at 5 o'clock, you want it to be revoked out the system altogether. We could actually do that. But we'll stick it to 3, we'll keep the times as normal, and I click generate. That has now generated that QR code, and it's got all the details there about it as well. So it's got a PIN number in there it's generated, it's got how many passes are allowed, and it's telling us all the details who's done it. Now I can choose to share that with visitor, so that's what I can share with the visitor themselves, and I can send that to one of my contacts I want to via text message or via email or however I wanted to do that. Option I've got there is to save to album, so that saves it to my camera roll essentially. What we'll do, we'll just click it on the screen that we're on now. If I just hold this over, let's see if this lets us in.
authenticated,
That let us in. Try again.
authenticated,
Let us in.
authenticated,
So that's working quite well.
authenticating failed,
It failed on the 4th time. That is because that person is only allowed access 3 times. So again, it is really useful be able to control how many times someone can access through that door. Now, if I do need to edit this, I can click edit at the top there, and I can choose to obviously give more time if I want to. If I just go back, and let's look at our access records, for example. Let's go for today, and let's see what's actually taken place. So as you can see there, our contractor was gained access 3 times, and on the 4th time, access was denied, purely because, again, they'd gone over their limit of how many times they're allowed through that door. So there we go, everyone. That is how we commissioned the new 502 access terminal with the QR code reader. As you saw there, using Hik-Partner Pro and HikConnect Teams mode for the business owner to be able to commission their system themselves, essentially, by giving them access to add their own permanent people into there, as well as being able to grant visitors temporary access as well. Again, as you saw there, we had the QR code generated, and we could just share the button over there and send it straight over to them by a text message or by email, as well as being able to restrict how many times they can come through that door as well. So really straightforward. I hope you agree. Now, if you are interested in the device, go to the description below. The link is in there to the actual device itself. All the contact details for our sales team is in there as well. They'll have all the information should you be interested. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, if you haven't done subscribe, please do subscribe. And as always, if you hit that bell icon, you'll be able to upload any new videos.